Hey everybody, welcome to tutorial video 1 supplemental. This one will actually be posted first before video 1 in the series. I should have covered this in video 1, however I was so excited because the excitement of getting the custom map tutorials out to you guys, and the demand was pretty great. I think there's about 40 to 50 people who wanted this series to help them start their own custom map and how to set up from scratch. So we're going to kind of work through this together, and we might run into some technical hurdles and things like that, but we'll try to figure it out together. And if I have to, I'll come back and we'll cover in another video if something happens or we have some technical difficulties with the dev kit. That does happen, so just be prepared for that sort of thing. Okay, so let me go ahead and let's move on to the display here. So I can go ahead and show you guys the first little intro here. All right, so now your dev kit is not going to start up like this. I went ahead and I kind of moved my windows, and so what I'm going to do is going to show you you can snap your windows in by grabbing these tabs, okay? And you might have more windows kind of tabbed in and snapped in, so I'm going to go ahead and try to recreate what it should probably look like to you when you initially start up. Windows, modes, and let me go ahead and hit the modes window here and snap it to the side. So you should kind of start up like this. This is what you might first see. What I do is I go ahead and grab it by the tab and I pull it apart because I have 3 monitors and I like to put those windows, when you move the tabs like that, it'll lock like that. You can move the window. If you go above the tab, you can adjust it like so. And I like to move them to my other windows or my other monitors. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and break the content browser apart there. That way I can actually see it the way I like it. And all right, so now let's go ahead and cover a few things. Oops, oh, darn it, doing exactly the opposite of what I want to do. All right, so the first things I'm going to do is we have our content folder here. We also have our modes. Okay, you can always go Windows and go to Modes. All right, and that's going to bring up our Modes window. And this is where we have the object, place object, so Shift +1. I just go ahead and I click this. I mean, if you can remember keystrokes, hey, that's awesome. This paint is not paint the world. This is a paint to paint static meshes. That's a whole different ball game. I'll show you that stuff a little bit later. And landscape. This is where we can actually paint our landscape by sculpting it. So we hit sculpt here, but we can't do that here. This is our button to actually paint the world, okay, but we're not into a landscape where we can actually paint it. This is just this almost empty map. This is actually a static mesh plane here. We can't mess with this right now, but this is just to show you these things here. This is the foliage tool right here. It's empty, and it will start empty on your map, but we'll fill that out later. So I just want to kind of show you that. Let me see what else. Okay, and now we'll go to the static mesh. And so what I'm going to do here is show you a static mesh and how we can move these around. And also it's going to help you navigate post processes, move sound volumes, things like that. And you'll see those when we get to those. But what I want you to do is go ahead and navigate down here in your content filter. Go down here to environment, buildings, and meshes. And just go ahead and grab a mesh out. Minimize these windows so they're out of your way. And the first thing we're going to kind of cover is the transform tool. Now you notice you have the blue, the green, and the red. The blue is your z-axis up and down. Your green is your y-axis, and your red is your x-axis. Okay, so this way and this way. All right, front and back, side to side, so to speak. Okay, this is what we call the transform tool. Now what we can do with the transform tool, if you look up here in the top right hand side, you're going to see translate objects, you're going to see snapping grids, and we got snapping set to 1 value. This might be something different in yours. It might be 10. I don't know. You can change it. I change it to 1. We also have the 10, which is rotation. Okay, and it's orange. We can unlock it and lock it, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. Same thing with your scaling, which is set to 0.25, and our camera speed, how fast our camera will move in game, set to 5 and 4. This is the speed your camera moves at. If we scale this up to 8, this moves really fast. So if you want your camera to move in slower speeds, you can use that. Now to move your camera in game, right click. If you hold your right mouse button down, you can actually pivot your camera up and down, left, right, side to side. Now to move your camera game, you can use WASD, okay, and that's how we can maneuver, and then we can also use our mouse together. This is how we move our camera around, okay. So now back to the transform. Now the transform tool, all right, if we hit the space bar, we can actually rotate an object left or right, okay, by pulling on the blue here. We can rotate it on the y-axis, the green, and we can do the side-to-side rotation, okay, and it snaps it at 90 degrees or 10 degrees, okay, actually, yeah, 10 degrees. You can change those degrees up here. However, I keep it on 10s because it's easier to remember. Unless you can function on higher degrees, by all means, go for it. Okay, now what you can also do is disable that feature, and then you can actually make smaller degree precision movements on an object. If you need to shift an object to where you need it to sit, you can do that using the different transforms. Now, if you're all messed up and say you got this thing all out of whack and you're like, damn it, I can't get it and I'm frustrated, all you do is you go to the details panel over here, see your object here, and where you see location and rotation. Now, if we hit location, what it's going to do is I'm going to kind of show you this. So I'm going to go ahead and move this object. And if you hit the location button and you hit the yellow reset, boom, it's going to snap it over here to the center of the world, and that's what it'll do on your map. It's going to take it straight to the center of the world. Okay, now our rotation is still screwed up, and I don't like my rotation. I messed it up. I can't get it right, so I need to reset myself. Just go to rotation on the object and hit boom. It'll reset it. Now, if we move our object over here, we screw up its stuff, right? We're all messed up. We don't want to change the location. We just got to set the rotation. So just go over here and just set the rotation, and it'll reset the rotation, and the location's still the same, and then we can just move it in place where we need it. Okay, so that covers that. Now, oops, I shouldn't even touch that. So now what we need to do is I'm going to show you the next part of this. The next part of this is we want to scale an object. So I want to increase the size of this block or shrink it. So when you see here at the transform, we hit the space bar. This goes through our different transform features. All right, so now what we can do is if we want to, we can actually take the white box, if you notice in the center, if we highlight that white box, all of these three transforms here should light up. That means that we got the white box selected. Now I can actually shrink and scale the object equally. Now if I want to tug it up one way, I can hit the blue, I can hit the red, and I can hit the green. Okay, pulling on those will give us different stretching. Now it's stretching quite large. If we want to reset and say we don't like the scale and we screwed up, just go back over here to the scaling tool here, the scale and the transform. Just hit the yellow back arrow. It'll reset it to its defaults. Now, if the scale is set to a snap of 25, if you look up here, if we go ahead and we turn back our rotation, I'm going to turn that and lock that back on to 10-degree rotation. But if we disable this, right, the scale, and turn it off, now what can happen is it can do precise precisions. It doesn't snap, okay? So that's how we work these tools, okay? And also the other windows that we're going to be using in this is going to be the windows. Okay, window levels. You're going to be using this window, okay? And right now our map is currently persistent, which is this map here. All right, but we'll deal with this stuff later, and we'll be playing with this create import tiled world, but that ain't going to enable right now because we have to set our map up. But you're going to be using this window a lot here in the future, okay, in the video. Also the modes, let's see, we covered that. Oh, world outliner. The world outliner up here on the top. Okay, this is going to be very important to you. This lays things out on the map for you. If we hit view options and we select only in current level, what that does is it shows us in the only current level selected. Obviously, this is the only level we have, so it's going to show us all these items in here. Okay. Another thing I need to point out too is the ultra dynamic sky. Make sure you don't copy this and duplicate it too many times, because what will happen, control copy, control V, control V, control V, control V. Now I have a ton of these ultra dynamic skies copied, and what I want to do is kind of show you quickly how if you do that, what you might find out is you're going to have some weird effects in your sky. Okay. And now it's probably going to make me look like a liar, and I can't get it to do what I need it to do, is show me. It might start shimmering and doing some weird funky stuff. So make sure if you do that, delete the copy of it, okay, just like so, in your world outliner, highlight it and just hit the delete key. As long as it's yellow, you've got it selected. Now if you for some chance modes and you accidentally have landscape on, you can't delete any of this, you can't move any of this stuff or highlight it, okay? The only thing you can do is in the landscape is highlight the landscape itself, the light source and the moonlight. Okay, be careful. If you have the foliage tool engaged, you can obviously do nothing. You notice how everything's grayed out. So make sure you go back to your placeable. That's where you can start touching and clicking on things. So again, like if I have the foliage tool selected and I try to cut, I can't touch this. See, I can't touch this static mesh, can't move it because it's the foliage tool. That's a different tool. So make sure you go back to your placeable button in your modes window. That way you can go ahead and select your static mesh. So if you find yourself doing that, chances are you might have the wrong mode selected, so you need to go back to the placeable mode, which is the light bulb in the little box here. Okay, like I said, this paintbrush here, this is not going to help you. What it is actually, believe it or not, you can use it on static meshes, which has vertex shading. And to give you an idea of that really quickly, I'll just kind of cover that quickly so you understand what that paintbrush is for. Certain static meshes have the ability to be kind of like painted, and the only ones that on the dev kit that actually have that ability is if you go to dungeons, you go to meshes, and you go down to the sewer meshes, which is from the the sewers, and you pull out these meshes here, and there's a lot of them, but they have the ability to be what they call vertex painting. I'm gonna go ahead and grab another one out, and I'm gonna grab this one out. Okay, so those three meshes, I pulled them out. Now I'm going to minimize my window. Now if you notice, you see this green like circle, and if we hold down shift, notice how it clears off like the muddy dirt. This mesh is set up to do that. So you just got to click on each mesh, and you got to make sure it's highlighted so you can kind of remove it. And what this does is this helps break up so that the mesh doesn't have a repetitive pattern, okay, in your game. So I mean you can have a clean wall if you want to. I mean you can make this sucker all cleaned up if you need it to look a certain way. But what this does is if you undo shift and you just go back and paint on it, it will literally fill this all back up. Okay, we can get it back to the original state if we want to. And that's all you do. Okay, just hold down shift to remove the mud that's built in on the material. This is what we call vertex painting, and only these meshes, like I said, in game have the vertex painting, and I believe possibly, I'm not quite sure, I can't remember if some of the SIPTA assets do or not. You'll have to find that out and try it out. I do not know off the top of my head. Okay, so that covers those. So that's what that paintbrush is. The landscape, this is where you can sculpt and change the terrain, but we can't do that currently in here because this is not an actual landscape. Okay, so go back to placeable modes. All right, other than that, I think we kind of covered everything, so that way you know where we're going to navigate. And like I said, the content folder, your biggest thing that you're going to be focusing on, let me minimize this, is going to be your mods folder. When we create the mods in the first video, I'm going to show you how to create your folder, get your mod set up if you've never done this before. But if you have, you obviously know how to create a new mod. But we'll go ahead and I think that's it for this video. We kind of covered, but this is ultimately the folder you're going to be messing with your mod folder, which is going to be named, and it's going to have a bunch of files. And I'll show you how to set up all this structure in the tutorial series. Okay, really quickly, let me head back, turn my display off, and bring my ugly mug back on screen for you. So hopefully that kind of helps you get started with the dev kit. This video is going to be about 15-20 minutes. I just wanted, like I said, this is a supplemental. I should have covered this in video 1. However, I was just, like I said, I was so excited to go ahead and get the series started, and I started recording and putting the videos together. And then I realized, you know what, I should have kind of covered these tools. I might mention it throughout some of my video, but this is going to give you a heads up. That way you know when I'm saying it, and I might repeat it in those videos, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about and where you're headed to in the dev kit. Other than that, guys and gals, please enjoy the series. And what I'm going to do too is I'm going to put links below the video, hopefully on Patreon. I should be able to do this in the description. I'm going to give you links to my Google Drive so you can download the height maps. You can download certain files that I may post to you. That way you can actually incorporate them into your dev kit, into your mod folder. That way you can use certain items that I might create or give to you so you can learn how to import custom content and things like that. So I'll provide a link in the video descriptions, hopefully on Patreon. I should be able to do that. You'll be able to download that and you can go through and look at the files that I give you, and I will show you how to import those when we get to those parts of the video. You'll be able to do that and stuff. So other than that, I think that's it for this video. So hopefully, guys, I hope you enjoy the series. Please leave comments. Let me know if I need to cover something else, or I'll create another video tutorial to cover something more in depth. If you don't understand something, I'll do my best. Like I said, we may run into some technical issues throughout the custom map setup. I try to test things beforehand, but however, sometimes I just jump right into it, and we might run into something technical. So just bear with me, have some patience. If not, what I'll do is I'll cut the video short, and I'll go ahead and I'll create another video and how I might have fixed it, things like that. So just to give you a heads up if we do run into some technical issues or problems like that. But this is video 1A, Supplemental. The introduction, I will say, I should have done this on the video 1 itself, but I didn't. So this will be your first video, and then video 1 will be the second one, but it'll actually be video 1 of the series. So this is, I'll just put these little supplementals just in case I might have missed something or I should have covered something. But ultimately, hopefully, I will remember. Snow, God forbid, I might forget something. And there's a lot of stuff to remember, guys. It's very technical, especially if you never use Unreal Engine. It's kind of a learning curve that's really steep, but if you just follow along, you will kind of do your best. Remember, you can always pause the video, so if you get flustered, you're not sure, rewind the video back, watch my screen carefully. I don't have one of those cool icon highlighting things and all that stuff, so just bear with me. Do your best, and like I said, if you have any questions or comments, you can go to the Discord channel I've set up. I will go ahead and make sure that's linked to you guys. If you haven't already, off of my YouTube introduction saying, sorry, my headset for some reason, it's funny. Sometimes it's like it doesn't detect my voice, so it shuts itself off to save battery mode. I don't know why it's doing that. But anyway, sorry about that. So I'll try to leave the Discord link where you can actually join others in the Discord and talk to one another. If you're learning how to set up maps, you can talk to each other. That will help to relieve some of the stress off of me. If somebody knows something, they can help somebody else. I really appreciate that if you can help other modders, because that's what we're trying to do. As the modding community, we're trying to help each other and get that information out, but there are some modders who just like to pretend they want to hold that information close to them because like they're the ultimate knowledge source. I try to just give that knowledge out there. That way I'm not always tackled, and people are always demanding, hey, I need this from you. Because if I give you that knowledge, hey, guess what? You guys become better developers or game modders, and it makes your life better. And I'm not one trying to hold the information to myself sort of guy. I want to get that out there. That way you guys can enjoy it, because I do enjoy this stuff. It's fun. It can be fun. Try to have fun. If it becomes too stressful, take a break. Step back and just take a break. Sometimes you can have creative burnout and you just need a break from the dev kit because it is technical. All right. I have about 7 to 8 years now using the Unreal Engine, the dev kit, and Unreal 4.27. I've been dabbling with Unreal Engine 5.4. They're complete differences, and even the interfaces have changed over the different versions, so it can get very technical. But if you start it with 4.15, you can slowly build yourself up to those other versions of the engine and just tinker. Okay, but all right, so I'm digressing and talking way too much. So let's go ahead and let's keep this video short. And we're at 20 minutes. So all my other videos should be about 30 to 35. Sometimes it might go to 45, depending on where we're at. And if we get into something major and deep, it might go to an hour. So just pay attention to the timestamps. That way, if you're like cooking dinner for the spouse or vice versa, or the kids, you have time to go ahead and set it aside to, concentrate and focus on the dev kit, because you're going to need your attention to be focused in what we're doing. Okay. All right. With other than that being said, without further ado, I should say, let's go ahead and have fun. Remember, if you have any questions, talk in my Discord. I got a custom channel set up, or ping me directly, or leave any comments. We'll try to get to them, and we'll try to address any issues you guys might have. All right. Without further ado, thanks for joining me. Have fun, good luck, and we'll start making our map. Take care, everybody.